Is there something more prevalent in the average lawyer's lifestyle that makes them more predisposed to suffer from wellness-related issues?
Well, you mentioned one thing, which was trauma, and a lot of attorneys in the public sector and in the private sector who deal with family law issues, for example, where you might have trauma, domestic abuse. In the criminal realm, in criminal law, you might have clients or you might be prosecuting someone for violent crimes. And usually criminal activity is co-occurring with some mental health challenge. And so it could be that the exposure to that, and we know that judges also being exposed to cases involving high tensions and involving violence, domestic violence, or criminal activity, or violent activity, those things have an impact on the recipient. Even if you're not involved in the behavior that's at issue in a case, just hearing about it can be traumatizing. So we know that there are those secondary effects on lawyers. A lot of it may be due to the lack of autonomy that lawyers have over their daily lives. Many of us are run by schedules set by a court or by the rules of criminal procedure or civil procedure, which set deadlines, and they're hard deadlines, and they don't necessarily move. And so your life has to move around those deadlines. And if you have more than one case, which you're apt to do is have more than one case, you're balancing all those required deadlines that seem to be mandatory and create a lot of pressure. There is also a culture, I think of, and we talked about this just a moment ago, of not reaching out and getting help. A lot of times our lawyers practice in what we call solo or small practices. So you're either practicing by yourself or you have a very small firm. And it may be that you don't have other people that you can give work to relieve your own workload. And so you're at the mercy of how, you never know how a case may blow up or extend its life. It may start as a seemingly simple or small matter and may blow up unexpectedly. And so if you're in a solo or small situation, you have few options for other people to help you. So sometimes just the structure of the practice will limit your seeming inability to get help. But even in larger firms, again, there is this culture, you have to handle it on your own. You're expected to know these things. And of course, there's ego and pride, which is, of course, I know all the answers. And don't worry, I've got it all handled. And so those may be some of the features of the legal profession that predispose or impact people. But I would point to the most obvious, which is the huge responsibility that you have. We're not physicians, so we don't have someone's actual life in our hands all the time, but we do have the fate of people and what they care about the most to them. So if it's a criminal matter, you may have someone's life and liberty in your hands. But if it's other matters like, child support, divorce, family law matters, business matters, all of these things are the most important thing to the client. And when you get the sense that, I'm responsible for the most important thing to the client, there is a heavy weight of responsibility and accountability.